I'm going to be sharing some tips that would help you if you are in the UK or if you are planning to come to the UK. Some house hunting tips that will help you and guide you in your accommodation search. Hi guys, and welcome back to my I'm feeling a dick today is actually not the right day for me to be doing this video, but if I don't do it today, I'm not going to be able to do it another time, so I have to do it. Anyways guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I became homeless in the UK. This headache is headache. But yeah, today I'm going to be talking about how I became homeless in the UK, and it's actually very funny because when I say it out loud, like how I became homeless in the UK, I don't mean like I was stranded or I started living in the streets or under the bridge. But I'll try to make this video as short as possible. Anyways guys, I think that some of the key points I'm going to highlight are like some of the things I should have done to have avoided the mess I got myself in. Not really like a messy situation per se. I think I'm probably over exaggerating about how my situation was, but there are some things I probably could have considered or I probably could have done to not have put myself in such a vulnerable position. And I'm doing this video so as to help whoever is like having house hunting challenges in the UK currently, because looking for a house is actually like a big deal. So I'm currently doing this video just to help those of you or anyone who might be having challenges finding a house in the UK. So the UK is currently facing like accommodation crisis. There's been lack of affordable houses. In fact, there are not even sufficient houses currently. I think maybe because they have lots of people moving into the country. I don't know if that's like the reason, but then there's been like lack of accommodation, and then most importantly lack of affordable accommodation, and then coupled with the skyrocketing or like really high cost of rent and high cost of living, it has made like looking for accommodation in the UK very tedious for a lot of people, especially for new immigrants, and that can be very frustrating. For myself, I found myself in this position, and I would like to say that it was because of a number of things. I would say that to an extent it was poor planning on my part. I had a place I was staying at. So in the UK, for those of you who don't know, in the UK you usually have like a rent contract, so you have like a specific amount of time that you're supposed to stay in your house. Like originally when you get your house, you sign a contract with your landlord, so it's usually like between 3 months minimum and then a year and above sometimes. So my initial contract was for a year, and I already knew I was going to be moving out, and I had no intentions of renewing the rent. Why I would like to think that it was poor planning on my part, it was also because of some certain situations that I found myself in. So I would say to an extent it was poor planning, because I mean I had a whole year to think about that. My rent was going to expire at the end of August. My rent expired at the end of August 2022, and I didn't get a house until January 2023. So just to like elaborate on how long I was homeless for literally 4 months. So yeah, so like I had enough time to think about, oh, my rent was expiring in a year, I need to find where I'm going to, but I didn't really do all of that. But like I said earlier, because of the situation I was in, I don't want to say special kind of situation, but yeah, that was what it was. I was at a point in my life where the decision about where I was going to stay was not like fixed, because I was expecting an opportunity to come, or I was expecting multiple opportunities, and depending on which of the opportunities come first, or whichever one, if I get to like have any of all of them, and whichever one I was going to go with was what was going to determine where I was going to stay. And due to situations beyond my control, I was not able to like have I didn't had like a fixed time, or like things just kept happening that kept delaying things for me. So the more I kept delaying, the more I was quite uncertain about where I was going to live and things like that. So it just kept delaying the whole process for me, and it was quite a messy situation because again I was homeless for 4 months. But thank God for friends, thank God for people who got placed in my life, thank God for answers to prayers I didn't even get to pray here. So that's the only reason you would not come and see me living under the street, or you not see me on the news or anything, that one unique girl like this is homeless and is living on that street. So I originally intended to do like an extensive video, or kind of like a whole video documenting all of my house auntie struggles and all of that, but I started it but I was not committed to it. I'm going to try to plug in 1 or 2 clips to this video just so you see me, and then like if you see me that time, you know I was going through it because it was showing in my face, in my everything, that like I was going through the stress, even though I was trying not to show it. So I'm going to plug 1 or 2 clips there because I don't think the clips or the videos I managed to document would be enough to like put out a separate video or a full video about my house hunting struggles. So guys, ignore that I look like a big mess right now. I'm currently going through it. I am currently house hunting, and guys, this is the ghetto. About this time last year I was in these same shoes, and it's not funny. I did not miss not being in this position. Now I'm back to the street. I have to find an apartment before they throw me out of my house. I have about 25 days to find an apartment. It feels like a long time, right? But it's crazy because houses have gone up. See the way I'm panting. So guys, this is 4 months since my last video. If you've seen, I don't know, I don't know how this video is going because it's been such a long time since I did a video about my searching for an accommodation. I need to watch where I'm going because obviously I'm using the camera and I can't use my map right now. But I'm going for a house viewing today, and see, at this point I am so frustrated. I really just hope that I get this house. I've seen the pictures of this house and it looks okay, and I really do not have a choice at this point anymore. So I'm hoping that everything goes well today, and I'm ready to even pay for this apartment like today because I miss having my own space. So now to the main focus of this video. I'm going to be sharing some tips that would help you if you are in the UK or if you are planning to come to the UK. Some house hunting tips that will help you and guide you in your accommodation search. And I really do hope that you find this very, very, very resourceful. Stay tuned. So the first thing I'll say just before I start going into like critical details is plan regarding your accommodation. I feel like this is one part of the whole UK struggle or process that people just tend to just put by the side and not consider a big deal, but it's actually a big deal because first of all, accommodation is one of like, if not the most expensive thing you'll be spending your money on in the UK. To me, maybe it's because I don't have kids or but I feel like even when you have a family, even when you, because I know people do say that childcare is quite expensive in the UK, but I still think that if you even have a family, accommodation or rent is still going to like be your biggest challenge because getting accommodation even as a single person is difficult, and is worse for people who have children, plus rent is generally expensive. So plan regarding your accommodation. If you are coming to the UK, as you are processing your student visa or your work visa or whatever visa it is that you are coming here with, prioritize your accommodation. Plan regarding that. Are you going to be staying with friends or family for the first couple of weeks or months when you come in? Or if you don't have friends or family, where are you going to be staying? You don't want to stay in Airbnb or hotel because they're not like feasible because they're very, very expensive. So plan towards your accommodation. Prioritize your accommodation. I cannot overemphasize on this enough. And if you are already in the UK and you are thinking about like moving, like it was in my situation, you're already in the UK, you already have somewhere you're living, but you're going to be leaving that environment and moving to a separate environment. Give yourself enough time to plan, to decide where you want to stay, to decide where you're going to move to, and as early as possible start searching for accommodation. It is never too early. As a matter of fact, the way it is set up here, you can start if it's June and you want to move out, even next year January, you can start looking for houses. There are so many sites that they will post houses and they will tell you these places are not available until 6 months from now, or these places are not available until 3 months from now. So don't wait until like 2 months or 1 month to when you need your accommodation before you will now start looking for accommodation. Plan towards your accommodation, okay? And then secondly, this is probably quite related to the first point, which was plan, but have an idea of where you want to live. If you're already in the UK, I think I did mention that my situation was quite complex because I had a lot of factors determining where I was going to stay. If I was going to stay back in Leeds, like the city I was living in, or if I was going to move to a different city. I had a lot of factors because I was waiting on different opportunities that I already set my mind on, and then they were going to determine if I was going to stay back in that city or if I was going to move to another city. So if your situation is like mine, it might be very trickish to like play with. But if you know for a fact where you're going to stay, there are no determining factors, you already have an idea of where you're going to stay, then start looking towards that area, start searching for houses around that area. If you are a student or if you're a worker and you're just moving into the UK for the first time, you already have an idea where your office is located, where your school is located, then start and familiarize yourself with the postcode of that area, and then start like searching for houses around that area. Do you get what I mean? Thirdly, you cannot say that you are looking for houses if you have not familiarized yourself with relevant UK sites that would aid your search for accommodation. And these sites include Rightmove, Zoopla, Rentco. I'm going to list all of them. I think it's not coming off the top of my head right now, but I'm going to give a list of all of them on my screens. So familiarize yourself with these different platforms that you can utilize for your search. You do not need to physically be in that location. If you are in Nigeria, or if you are still in the country you are staying in, if you are not yet in the UK and looking for an accommodation, you do not need to be in the UK to actively start searching for an accommodation. You can maximize using those sites. For students, you might want to leverage on Amber Homes. They have like really good accommodation for students, shared apartments, ensuite apartments, flat apartments, and things like that. If you are already in the UK, you are in London but want to move to Manchester, you do not have to be in Manchester to start looking for a house. You can leverage on this site and start searching for a house. Also, if it's possible that you get like maybe somebody that can help you to do a physical viewing if you need to, but most often these sites or these agents, whichever one you get in contact with, they can actually arrange for a virtual viewing. And from my experience, the 2 accommodations I've rented so far in the UK, I did not need to physically go to the location to view the apartments for myself. I did virtual viewings and they did not do me what I ordered versus what I got. It was what I saw online that I got physically. As a matter of fact, my present accommodation, when I was coming, I was actually scared because when I did the virtual viewing, it was looking quite small, but when I came here, it was actually like bigger than what I expected, and the quality of the room and everything was exactly the same thing that I saw. But if you have trust issues, it might be good to have somebody on ground who can physically go and check the houses for you if you are not physically available. So do not forget to maximize these websites. They should be showing on my screen right now if they are not already, or if I've not already done that. So yeah, that's that. The fourth thing is to bear in mind that most times, especially if you are a new immigrant or if you do not have like a track record that your landlords can rely on, that you'll be faithful with paying your rent, because unlike in Nigeria where we pay yearly rent here is mostly paid monthly. So if you do not have a track record here, if you've not stayed in the UK for more than 3 years, or if you're just coming newly into the UK, most of the agents or landlords would most likely ask you for a guarantor. If you cannot provide a guarantor, then you might be asked to pay 3 months, 6 months, or even 1 year rent in advance, which might be a lot of money. Trust me. If you are living in a shared apartment, I don't know, I've heard cases of where people actually get like shared apartment for like 250, 300, but it depends on the location. But from my experience and from my personal search, the cheapest you can get for a shared accommodation is like 350, 450, and that's quite a lot of money, even for people already living in the UK. For single people, that's a lot of money. So imagine if you are just coming freshly from Nigeria and they're telling you to pay 350 pounds per month. That's a lot of money to not pay 3 months upfront or 6 months upfront or 1 year upfront if you do not have like a guarantor. So bear in mind that this is a very, very big factor that can actually affect your search. So either you save enough money to be able to pay 3 months in advance or 6 months in advance, if that's what is required for your tenancy agreement to be made or confirmed, or you prepare to provide a guarantor. Now, if you do not, usually the guarantor should be somebody who is working full-time in the UK and has lived more than 3 years in the UK. If you cannot provide such a person, or if you do not have connection with anybody that fits into that criteria, there are also some sites where you can pay for a guarantor service. I'm going to leave such sites on the screen as well, so you can check them out if you want to. So with these sites, you can actually you just pay a certain fee and they can act as your guarantor for you in the UK. This is actually very, very important, because trust me, having a guarantor or not having a guarantor can greatly impact your accommodation search in the UK. You can also want to bear in mind, for me, even when I just came, I didn't have to use a guarantor and I didn't have to pay 3 months or 6 months upfront, but that's because I managed to get a room on spare room and directly from the landlord. So I figured that I don't know, this might be a bit generic, but I figured that most times when you are renting directly from the landlord, the most they will ask you for is either an holding deposit or 1 month deposit, like 1 month extra deposit, or none. My current house, my landlord is fantastic. I did not have to pay any extras. I did, in fact, like when he confirmed my rent, or more like when he sent me my agreement, all he just asked me to pay, because I did a virtual viewing, was I should pay half of my rent as a holding deposit, and then when I move in, I'll pay the balance half for that first month, and that was it. So but it's very, very rare for people who are looking for family accommodation, or people who have partners or children. It's very, very rare for you to get that kind of deal, so keep that in mind, guys. Lastly, you do not want to not lastly, because I'm going to share an extra tip, but you do not want to be very desperate in your search that you are now going to not make a research of the area that you're moving to. Don't get frustrated to the point that you want to pick everything, and this is kind of like related to the last thing I'm going to talk about, but I'll just save that for later. But don't get too desperate that you will not do your research. Please do your research regarding the areas. Is it like, do they have like high crime rates? Are they like accessible to transport, to stores, local stores and things like that? Those are kind of the things that you also want to check for, because you do not want to go and stay in an area that is not safe for you, or that will not be safe for you or your kids. And you do not want to go and stay in an area that it will be very difficult for you to like get buses when you want to go to town, or like when you are having a lazy day but you're feeling hungry, then you have to travel so far, or you have to go so far to like get food stuff and things like that. So make proper research on the area that you are going to be living, to make sure that it's accessible and you can possibly get all of the things that you want around you. And then this brings me to my final point, which is, in your search, be open-minded. I'm saying this because it kind of contracts with what I just said about don't be too desperate, but again, be open-minded in the sense that accommodation in the UK is the absolute ghetto. Like, looking for an accommodation in the UK is the absolute ghetto, and it can frustrate your life. like to the maximum. You can become depressed safe. Like, you can have your money, you can have a guarantor, you can have everything needed, and you will still not be able to get something that you want. So when I say be open-minded in the sense that if your taste is like this, if you're looking for the perfect luxury accommodation, you can have the money for it, and you'll be seeing something substandard. So in your mind, you're like, why are you telling me to pay £1,500 per month for this kind of apartment? Like, you can see very substandard accommodation or houses that are like high prices, and again, accommodation in the UK is not cheap. Or you might see the perfect house but in a very nonsense environment. You can see the not so perfect house but kind of moderate and okay in the perfect environment. So like, you need to be very open-minded to know that the kind of house, or the kind of, not just the kind of house, your budget can also change. You might initially say, oh, you know what, I'm not going to pay more than £1,000 for rent for a 2-bed with 2 bathrooms and 2 toilets. By the end of the day, you will see they will be telling you is 1.5 for 2-bed with 1 toilet or 1 kitchen or 1 small sized kitchen and things like that. So be open-minded to know that your taste might change, or your budget might increase, or that kind of thing. Be very, very open-minded, because again, accommodation in the UK will frustrate you. But yeah guys, this is it for this video. I'm having a headache, and I feel like I forgot some of the points that I was going to share in this video. But if I don't remember anything, maybe in the process of editing this video, I'm just going to plug it in. And if you are watching this video and you've stayed in the UK or have experience of looking for accommodation in the UK, and you have any extra key points that I probably did not share in this video that might be useful to my viewers or my subscribers, please drop them in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you do subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and if you have, please subscribe, leave a comment, like, or share. I'll see you guys in my next video, and hopefully I'll not be having this headache that I'm having right now. But it's because I've not slept properly in the last 24 hours. That's why I'm having this headache. But yeah guys, thank you and bye.